Welcome back, trainers. So we're going to be checking out this Deoxys solo attack form, of course. I'm going to be using 3 Gengars, and finally I was able to use my Honchkrow, and then we're just going to throw a Mewtwo at the end. I initially wanted to do a full Gengar team, which I could have. I probably would have had it just sit at the rate a little bit longer, because this specific Deoxys did have Psycho Boost, which is going to be doing massive damage to my Gengar. One and done shot on them no matter what if I do not dodge. Surprisingly, they took the hits and there was no shadow attacks. Well, for the most part. It happened a few times. I had to restart. No big deal. But all in all, it worked out pretty good. Anyways, we're also going to be taking a look at a couple of Sharpedo raids. I know, you're like, what? Sharpedo raids? Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking and waiting for that clear or at least sunny weather so I can do the Golem and, of course, the Rhydon tier 4 raids by myself, because I certainly do not have 5 or 6 maxed out Kyogres, and I'm not going to be powering those up anytime soon until they release their signature moves. Anyways, we're also going to be going over the Silk Road's Boulder Badge tournament a little bit more in depth. I went over some pretty good information fairly quick yesterday. It was fairly decent, showed you some Pokemon you may or may not want to use. For the most part, there were great counters, and that's what we're going to be getting into in this video, as well as talking a little bit on how much Niantic made and raised. Because I know there's a lot of you out there like, what's with Niantic? You know, they have all this money and the game is still, broken. Well, I think I understand what's really going on, because they've raised over $400 million. That's just raised. And they have a gross earning of $800 million for 2018. So we're going to be talking a little bit more on that. And what are they doing with their money? Do they have a bigger vision? Is this just some, project to get them by until they release their bigger vision? Pretty sure that's what it is. So for now, let's go ahead and get into some more Boulder Badge Pokemon that you may want to use for that tournament coming up. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the Pokemon over here on the Go Hub, because I just like this layout the best, and simple as that. So we have Wishcash. Want to get this one out of the way because I know a lot of people are wondering, is it going to be good? Because the eligible Pokemon are going to be Rock, Steel, Ground, and Fighting type, and this is going to be great. Being a ground type with ground moves, it's going to be super effective to Steel, Rock, and then also the ground types with that water move, right? Well, at least with the counters. So there are the stats there. Just going to go over its weaknesses so you can see it's going to be weak to just grass. It's going to have a double weakness to that, so you better look out, because it is going to be ground and water type, resisting electric, fire, poison, rock, and steel. So you're resisting 2 of the types that are going to be eligible for the tournament, as well as possibly the fire hazard that you need to be looking out for, because people are going to try to be sneaking in those fire types here and there to get those steel types possibly. So this is going to be a great counter for that. Let's go ahead and look at its moves so we can see what you possibly may want to go with. And it has nothing legacy, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, what do you want? Mudshot or Water Gun? With Mudshot, you're going to be super effective to Rock and Steel type. With that Water Gun, you're going to be super effective to Rock and Ground. So, and then going up against Fighting type is just going to be neutral. So the question is, which one gains your energy faster to charge up your moves? We have 11.7 EPS for Mudshot. Very good. And then you have 10 flat for Water Gun. So Mudshot's going to be doing the charging a lot faster. Now we have the charge moves: Blizzard, Mud Bomb, Water Pulse. Okay. What do we have entering this tournament? We went over this many times. Rock, Steel, Ground, Fighting. So Blizzard, I guess, if you went up against a Torterra or something, because if you did have Water Pulse, it's not going to be doing super effective damage because it is going to be part grass type, but you do have Blizzard. That's up to you if you want to put that on your Pokemon. As far as what would I go with, people ask me that a lot personally, and send me inbox messages. What moves should I have on my Pokemon for this team? You guys, it really depends on what else you're rocking on that team, because you're going to have other things that are having coverage and or weak to whatever specific types. And it just has a big workaround here. But if I had to just tell you flat out which one you want to go with, well, maybe Mud Bomb, because that's going to be super effective to 2 of the types flat out. You could go with Mud Shot, and there is your ground move, and then Blizzard just to protect yourself from possibly those grass type Pokemon. But honestly, if you faced off against a grass Pokemon with the grass quick move, then you're probably going to just want to get out of there, because you're going to be fainted fairly quick, being super weak to the grass type. So The choice is yours. Blizzard isn't a bad option, but considering the types that are going to be entering into this tournament, it's probably not within your best interest to go with Blizzard. So there you have Wishcash. Really fast, I just want to talk about Lunatone and Solrock, because I know a few of you out there are probably wondering if these are going to be actually pretty good, considering there is going to be fighting types entering this tournament, and I don't really highly recommend it. Take a look at that weakness: Bug, Dark, Ghost, Grass, Ground, Steel, and Water. Highly available typings with the dual types between Rock, Steel, Ground, and Fighting. So I would not really go with them. You'll have confusion on there, but cool. Just go with a Metagross, then Headbutt. Recommended. I'm not going to go into it any more in depth. I mean, we could take a look at the moves really quick, but I don't want to focus too much on this. Just to clear up any thoughts that you had about it. So Confusion, Rock Throw would be a horrible option to go with for this tournament in specific because of the typings. So you're going to definitely want to go with Confusion. Not very effective against Steel. So yeah, it does have Solar Beam, Psychic, then Rock Slide. Rock Slide's not going to be doing anything for you in this tournament unless you are going up against a specific type, which I will still considering mentioning or not. And then Psychic for those super effective fighting types. And then Solar Beam will be helping you. It's going to take a minute to get it up. And if you went up against a Steel type, say Goodnight, super effective, or a Wishcash that we just went over, you're not going to be, you say Goodnight again. If you so happen to get that Solar Beam up and they didn't block, obviously, but by then your Confusion would have done so much damage. So Lunatone and Solrock, not so good for this tournament, okay? To kind of speed it up for these Pokemon, so we have Sandslash, which may find some usability for you. Let's go ahead and look at its weaknesses here. Weak to Grass, Ice, and Water types, resisting Electric, Poison, and Rock. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because it does have Mud Shot and also Bulldoze, which is going to be great. Earthquake as well. So there you go. Just, you know, maybe you want to mix it up. Very quick charge move there. Let's look at that. 11.7. Very good. And then you have Bulldoze at 50 energy, so you'll be continuously getting him off. And then, of course, you can throw in that Earthquake if you wanted to purchase another move for a stronger Earthquake move. And then, for some reason, if you wanted a Rock Tomb, then you have that as well. Don't really recommend that. But then again, you never know who you're going to face off against that match, which is going to be weak against Rock. So I just wanted to bring you that one really quick. Right, so we did go over Poliwrath very quick yesterday, but I'm just going to show you what it's weak against here. It's going to be weak to Electric, Fairy, Flying, Grass, and Psychic, resisting Bug, Dark, Fire, Ice, Rock, Steel, and Water. So it's going to be resisting those entry type Pokemon. So it's not looking horrible whatsoever. Now let's take a look at the energy gain for the quick moves. For Bubble, we have 11.7. That is looking pretty good there. Then you have Rock Smash at a low 7.7. It's going to be super effective to those Rock and Steel types. But then again, you're going to have Bubble, which is also going to be super effective to Rock and Ground types. And it's going to have a lot of energy gain for these moves down here. Now, what do you want to go with? Hydro Pump, Dynamic Punch, or Ice Punch? You may have those pure ground types out there, in which case your Ice Punch is going to be super effective. But for the most part, you're going to have that Bubble there. It's going to be dealing that damage. If anything, just do Dynamic Punch, right? And have Hydro Pump on the side. Ice Punch is good, but for this specific tournament, you have the Steel. Then you have the Rock. It's not going to be doing much to those. If you were going up against a Rhyperior, for instance, I mean, Ice Punch is going to do a good amount of damage, but just do Dynamic Punch like I said, right? And then you'll be all right. Of course, if you do have a Legacy, you're going to have the energy gain for Mudshot at 11.7, which is looking great. And then Submission at 50 energy, which is going to charge fairly fast, dealing a decent amount of damage. That's looking good compared to Dynamic Punch. It's going to be a little bit better. A Dynamic Punch, as a matter of fact, it's going to be a lot better. Okay, let's just put it that way. So if you do have Submission, I don't know what you're going to want to do with that. It is Legacy. Mudshot's pretty good, so you should stick with that. So choice is yours. We have Kabutops. Now, keep in mind, I'm just going over things that you may want to just look into and have a good idea of what you may be facing off against. Not all of these are going to be your best options, and I'm going to be bringing you more videos because I can't cram them all into just one. So this is going to be a Rock and Water type, and I was looking over this. It's going to have good moves, but it's not going to be your best option considering what it's going to be weak against in this tournament. Weak to Electric, Fighting, Grass, and Ground. So it's not looking so hot there. Resisting Fire, Flying, Ice, Normal, and Poison. It's not really resisting things too much that you really need for this specific tournament. And it does have a Legacy of Fury Cutter for its quick move, which is going to be gaining your energy fairly quick. It does have Mud Shot and Rock Smash, which will help you in the tournament pretty nice. And then also Water Pulse, so hey, it's not looking all bad. But then you have Ancient Power and Stone Edge going up against Rock, Steel, and especially fighting types. You're not going to be doing super effective to anything on the field unless it is a specific type. All right, so there you go. Kabutops is looking not so hot. We have the Ditto in Disguise Quagsire. Now this one was coming out of left field real quick. It's actually going to be a good option water and ground type. Very nice. It's going to be just weak to grass. So there you go. Beautiful. Resisting the same things that Swampert is because it's the same type. All right. But if you had to go with one Swampert this, let's look at the moves and have a little comparison, shall we? Mudshot. All right. Getting that great energy. And Water Gun is a fantastic move. It has great energy as well. The choice is yours depending on the team that you have. So you do have Earthquake and then Sludge Bomb. So I suppose you can use Sludge Bomb to go up against those fighting types because it's going to be neutral damage. Earthquake to deal with those rock and steel types as well and just deal a hard hitting amount of damage, and you're going to get stabbed from that Earthquake. So Quagsire is looking great. You just need to look out for those grass types and you'll be looking pretty good. So there's another one on your radar you should be looking out for. Right, so here we go with Forretress, and looking over it, it's not looking the best. It's not looking the worst either. It's going to only be weak to fire, resisting grass, poison, bug, dragon, fairy, ice, normal, psychic, and steel. So it's going to be resisting a lot of the things that you need resistance on. But as far as its moves, no thanks. I mean, you have Bug Bite, Struggle Bug, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and then Rock Tomb. Not so good. I mean, you'll have that super effective with the Earthquake and possibly with the Heavy Slam against the rock types and then the Earthquake for the steel types, and you'll just not be taking very super effective damage. Let's see the energy gain. We have 12 for Bug Bite. That's pretty good. And then you have a 10 for Struggle Bug. So Bug Bite is probably what you want to go with to gain up those charge moves. And the choice is yours depending on what kind of wacky team that you want to go into the tournament with. Not calling your team wacky. I'm just saying if you wanted to psych out your opponents with this weird Forretress Pokemon. But look out for fire types on those possible Hitmonchans and or Infernapes with Flamethrower. So now let's go ahead and take a look at old Marshtomp's stats. It's going to be a water and ground type. This is actually really good, guys. It's going to be weak to just grass, resisting electric, fire, poison, rock, and steel. And what makes it so great is its moves. And we'll look at Swampert after this because it's not horrible either, but this one's actually going to be doing more damage. Yeah, in the Great League at least. So we have Mudshot, which is just excellent. 11.7 for that energy gain. And then Water Gun, another OP quick move for sure. Then here we go with the charge moves. All just beautiful. You have Surf. Very nice. Low energy gain. Get those off fairly quick, especially with Mudshot. Even Water Gun. Then you have Mud Bomb. I mean, whoo-wee. Another low energy gain there, and you're going to be able to get those off going up against those steel and possibly rock types out there. Maybe even rock and ground. It doesn't even matter what you're going up against. It's still going to be able to just chip away off their health unless they're part flying type, right? And then you have that Sludge. So this is looking very nice. So if you have one of these, you may want to check it out, test it out, and see how well it performs. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Swampert because this is basically the same thing, just a little bit slightly a little different here with its moveset. So we have Surf, Sludge Wave, and then Earthquake. Sludge Wave is going to be 100 energy to gain, so it's going to take a while. Same with Earthquake. But then you have Surf, which is only 50 energy, and then you have these amazing quick moves, which will help you charge them up fairly quick. So Swampert, another thing you need to look out for at the tournament because people are definitely going to bring this because it's darn good. Then wait until it receives its Community Day move. Oh my goodness, OP on the way. I remember I made a breakdown of Swampert a while back before PvP came out talking about how well it's going to perform. You just needed to look out for its one weakness, grass, and that Surf just continuously coming out. You got to look out. Then we have my boy Toxicroak over here, poison and fighting type. So this is going to be a fun one to use if you go into that tournament with it. Personally, I'm going to let this one sit out this time, but you might want to consider it. So it is going to be weak to just flying, ground, and then quite weak to psychic, so you need to look out for that. If, you go up against one of those Soul Rocks or maybe a Metagross with maybe Zen Headbutt or Psychic. You're going to have something to protect yourself in that case, so we'll go over that. It's going to be weak to Bug, Dark, Fighting, Grass, Poison, and Rock. So it's pretty good, resisting some of the types that will be into that tournament. So quick moves, what do we have? Counter and then Poison Jab. Going in this tournament, you may want to go with Counter, right? Because Poison is let's take a look. I mean, it's not very effective to Ghost, Ground, Poison, Rock, and then Steel. So basically everything that's going to be in that tournament. All right. And then you have Counter here, which on the other hand is going to be super effective to Dark, Ice, Normal, Rock, and Steel. Two of the types that are going to be entering into the tournament. So yeah, and the energy gain is decent compared to Poison Jab. It's doing better. So the reason why I was running Poison Jab was purely for coverage, which absolutely helped me in the last tournament. For the charge moves, you have Sludge Bomb, very low energy gain. You're going to also get stab from that Dynamic Punch, also fantastic. And then this is the magic. Mud Bomb right here. So it's going to be a ground type. You're not going to get stabbed, but it has very low energy. It's going to be charging fairly quick. It's going to be super effective to those steel and rock type Pokemon and possibly whatever else they have going on there. Metagross is going to be the thing you're going to be able to counter here. So Toxicroak is looking great. And another thing you need to take note of is the resistances. It's going to be resisting fighting, all right, and rock as well. So if they bust out their fighting type Pokemon, you can go to town on them, deal neutral damage while they're not dealing super effective to you. So Toxicroak is another fantastic option. Now let's very briefly talk about Niantic's grosses and possibly their vision for the future. All right, trainers, so we're over here wondering what is going on with Pokemon Go. It is not as polished as it should be, considering how much they have made. Yes, I agree, and I've done my fair share of complaining as well. But there's something going on here, and I'm not trying to defend Niantic or anything like that, but what do you see here? This is just the tip of Pokemon Go. They're just getting started. They are getting so much funding. People are donating so much to Niantic's company because they see what is going to happen. They know the bigger picture. They're trying to take over augmented reality. They kind of set the stage for all of this. I mean, and they're doing a pretty good job. They just need to polish everything up and get it right. And once they do, they will be controlling the market, basically have so much backing already. So that is what's going on to some degree with the Niantic. They are just waiting to release and stack up better technology for the future of Pokemon Go. What you're seeing, like I said, is just the tip of the iceberg, and they have a lot more in store for us. I mean, they're doing a fairly good job keeping the events up. They may be in parts of the world that you will never visit personally, like me, but at least they're doing those kind of things and keeping it somewhat fresh. So when people try to tell you, oh, Pokemon Go's dead, how is it so that they made $100 million in 2018? That's a lot of money. And where's it going? You know, where is it going, really, right? Probably more investments in technology that they're getting out there and keeping secret to some degree. So they're showing us this stuff. I mean, this is somebody walking up into a gym. So could you imagine, and I don't know how long until they push out this technology to the world and what kind of, you know, system or phone you're going to need and or accessories to see all this. But nonetheless, it's still here. It's still coming. And this is what they have planned. So pretty sure they're going to release some massive AR deal in the future. And it's going to change Pokemon Go and almost make it explode in the way it did when it first came out. I mean, let's be realistic. I don't think it's ever going to happen again like that unless they come out with, well, this is very interesting, some sort of new technology that nobody's ever really seen or used before. Maybe a little bit familiar, kind of like with AR goggles, but it's going to be in a whole new aspect and with Pokemon involved. So we'll just see, guys. Just wanted to throw that out there. Just a little food for thought. I didn't go deep into the numbers or anything like that, but that's what they're doing. Stockpiling for the future and getting ready. Is it an excuse for the game to be broken? Absolutely not, but just a little idea as to maybe why they don't care so much about everything. All right, I can give my critique a little bit more and get a little bit more in depth, but I'll hold my tongue and we'll move along here. So with that said, trainers, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be catching you all next time. Take care.